"You're not supposed to touch that," barked the supervisor, arms crossed, face pinched with disdain. Liam Carter wiped the sweat from his brow and looked up from under the hood of the battered ambulance. Its engine had coughed its last breath somewhere between downtown and nowhere, right outside the service station where Liam had just finished his shift. The paramedics had jumped out, frantic and desperate. A heart attack victim was inside, barely clinging to life. The EMTs had begged him, just get it moving again. And Liam, without a second thought, had dived in. "Rules are rules, Carter," the supervisor growled. "That's a city vehicle. Liability nightmare. You're not certified for emergency fleet." "But he was dying," Liam replied, still holding the wrench. "They said they couldn't wait for backup. I had to try." And he had tried. He'd patched a cracked radiator hose with duct tape, jimmied a failing fuel pump, and kicked the alternator until it groaned back to life. 5 chaotic minutes later, the ambulance was gone in a swirl of dust and sirens. It was also the last vehicle Liam would ever repair at that garage. "You're fired," the supervisor said, turning and walking off without another word. Liam went home that day feeling more hollow than heroic. He didn't tell his wife, Jenna, right away. She was already juggling part-time jobs while homeschooling their autistic son, Mason. They couldn't afford to lose his paycheck. But that night, sitting at the kitchen table with a cold mug of coffee, the weight of the world pressed down on him. "I did the right thing," he murmured to himself, though the walls didn't answer. A week passed, then 2. No callbacks, no interviews, just rejection after rejection, until a letter arrived. A cream-colored envelope, thick, expensive paper, no return address. Inside, a simple message. "You saved a life. Let's talk. A driver will pick you up at 10 a.m. tomorrow." Liam stared at it, unsure if it was a prank or a mistake. But curiosity and desperation got the better of him. At 10 sharp, a sleek black SUV rolled up. The driver offered no explanations, just a smile and a silent ride to the outskirts of the city. There, at the gates of a sprawling estate, Liam's jaw dropped. It wasn't a home. It was a fortress wrapped in glass and steel. Inside, a team of assistants guided him to a quiet study overlooking a private lake. And then the door opened. In walked a man Liam recognized instantly. Garrett Hale, billionaire tech mogul, reclusive CEO of Hale Dynamics, the kind of guy who trended on social media simply for not showing up anywhere. "I was the guy in the back of that ambulance," Garrett said simply. Liam blinked. "What?" "You fixed the rig. Got it running. Because of you, I made it to the hospital in time. The doctor said I had maybe 5 minutes left. You gave me that." "I didn't know it was you," Liam said, stunned. "Exactly," Garrett replied, smiling. "You helped without knowing who I was. You just did it. No camera, no glory, no paycheck." Garrett sat down, the gratitude in his eyes unguarded and raw. "In my world, people pretend to care. You actually do. So I want to offer you something better than a job." The offer was simple, but life-changing. Liam would lead a new initiative at Hale Dynamics, a nationwide program to repair and upgrade emergency vehicles in underfunded rural areas. Paid well, fully supported, and answering only to one man, Garrett himself. And at the heart of it all, kindness without conditions. Liam's hands, once caked in oil and regret, now signed contracts to ensure ambulances across the country would never break down when it mattered most. 6 months later, Liam stood in front of a crowd at the unveiling of the program's first field center. Reporters asked him what made him do it, what made him help, knowing he might lose everything. Liam looked down at his son in the front row, beaming, proud, and then up at Garrett beside him, alive and thriving. He cleared his throat. "Sometimes, the right thing isn't in the manual. It's in your gut, in your heart. I didn't know who was in that ambulance, but I knew someone needed help. That was enough." The crowd stood, applauded. Some cried, "And Liam?" He smiled, finally whole, and said the words he'd waited his whole life to believe. Being decent is never a waste of time. The end. In a world chasing status and rules, sometimes the greatest impact comes from a single quiet act of humanity. So be kind, even when no one's watching. You never know who you're saving.